Namaste, and welcome to all friends, disciples, and devotees to this weekly series during the time of coronavirus with words from Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. And today a very, very important one, the Mother on fear. Mother writes, generally speaking, perhaps the greatest obstacle in the way of man's progress is fear. A fear that is many-sided, multiform, self-contradictory, illogical, unreasoning, and often unreasonable. Of all fears, the most subtle and the most tenacious is the fear of death. It is deeply rooted in the subconscious, and it is not easy to dislodge. It is obviously made up of several interwoven elements: the spirit of conservatism and the concern for self-preservation, so as to ensure the continuity of consciousness, the recoil before the unknown, the uneasiness caused by the unexpected and the unforeseeable, and perhaps behind all that, hidden in the depths of the cells, the instinct that death is not inevitable, and that if certain conditions are fulfilled, it can be conquered. Although, as a matter of fact, fear in itself is one of the greatest obstacles to that conquest. For one cannot conquer what one fears, and one who fears death has already been conquered by it. So, then Mother writes, how can one overcome this fear? Several methods can be used for this purpose. But first of all, a few fundamental notions are needed to help us in our endeavor. The first and most important point is to know that life is one and immortal. The forms are countless, fleeting, and brittle. This knowledge must be securely and permanently established in the mind, and one must identify one's consciousness as far as possible with the eternal life that is independent of every form, but which manifests in all forms. This gives the indispensable psychological basis with which to confront the problem, for the problem remains. Even if the inner being is enlightened enough to be above all fear, the fear still remains hidden in the cells of the body, obscure, spontaneous, beyond the reach of reason, usually almost unconscious. It is in these obscure depths that one must find it out, seize hold of it, and cast upon it the light of knowledge and certitude. Now I have selected many brief comments of the mother to children who have asked her about fear. Firstly, she says, fear is always a very bad advisor. It is the fear, more or less conscious, which does almost all the mischief. Without fear, nothing can happen. Do not fear. Keep your confidence. All these troubles will leave you. Stop fearing, and the bothers will stop also. A child of mine cannot fear. My protection is always with you, and nothing bad can happen. But you must take the decision to shake off the fear, and then my force can work fully. Do not torment yourself. Do not worry. Above all, try to banish all fear. Fear is a dangerous thing, which can give importance to something which had none at all. The mere fear of seeing certain symptoms renew themselves is enough to bring about this repetition. This fear comes from weakness of nerves and of the vital. This fear must be got rid of before any attempt is made to follow the path of yoga. Yoga and fear do not go together. What can he fear who belongs to the divine? Can he not walk, his soul expanding and his brow illumined upon the path the divine traces for him, whatever it may be, even if it is altogether incomprehensible to his limited reason? All fear must be overcome and replaced by a total confidence in the divine grace. Nothing can harm you if you do not fear. So fear not. Be quiet and calm. All will be all right. The first thing from which you must cure yourself once forever is fear. There is nothing to fear. All is the Lord. There is nothing else than the Lord. The Lord alone exists, and all that tries to frighten us is only a silly and meaningless disguise of the Lord. Cheer up. The way is open before you. Shake off this obsession of illness and bring down the divine calm. It is more dangerous than the worst disease, this fear and obsession of illness. It is only fear which hurts, not the spirits. When people who have left their body appear in front of you, you must not fear. It is generally because they are restless and lack peace. Give them a good thought and wish them to be in peace, and it will be over. In any case, you can tell them to go to Mother, and they will not bother you anymore. You can be entirely free from fear only when you have driven out of you all violence. Get rid of all violence, and you will no longer have any fear. Fear is hidden consent. When you are afraid of something, it means that you admit its possibility and thus strengthen its hand. It can be said that it is a subconscious consent. Fear can be overcome in many ways. The ways of courage, faith, knowledge, or some of them. Fear is slavery. Work is liberty. Courage is victory. And this last quote of Mother. Once you enter the path of yoga, you must get rid of all fears. The fears of your mind, the fears of your vital, the fears of your body, which are lodged in its very cells. One of the uses of the blows and knocks you receive on the path of yoga is to rid you of all fear. The causes of your fears leap on you again and again until you can stand before them free and indifferent, untouched and pure. One has a fear of the sea, another the fear of fire. The latter will find, it may be, that he has to face conflagration after conflagration, till he is so trained that not a cell of his body quivers. That of which you have horror comes repeatedly till the horror is gone. One who seeks the transformation is a follower of the path must become through and through fearless, not to be touched or shaken by anything whatever in any part of his nature. The Mother. Namaste.